My master, who had a dashing and imposing demeanor, was unexpectedly an adorable little being thousands of years ago. When the immortal beings saw my devilishly charming appearance, their heavenly lord of zealous clarity closest to me felt a sinking sensation in his heart. The proud demeanor he had just moments ago vanished without a trace, replaced by an expression of fear. What is this dreadful sense of oppression? The rest of the immortal beings felt the same way. One by one, they fell to their knees. The emotion of fear continued to spread. This power far surpasses that of the demon lord, causing us to struggle for breath under the pressure it brings, until the corners of their eyes caught sight of me slowly approaching them step by step. Everyone felt a wave of powerlessness in their hearts. Must we stop this monster? Lord of Sui Ming, upon seeing me calmly reveling in such surging demonic energy, began to sweat profusely on his forehead. We couldn't even stand upright. Where on earth did he come from? The three most powerful heavenly lords were determined. They simultaneously unleashed an unprecedented power at the cost of burning their own lives. There's no time to hesitate. Everyone, listen to my command. Give your all, even at the cost of your lives, to stop him here. If we let him escape, we'll face endless trouble. Upon hearing their ridiculous remarks, I swiftly swung my fist, filled with demonic energy, and struck the face of the heavenly lord of zealous clarity. Then, with open palms, I released a small amount of demonic energy. With just this level of attack, I easily defeated their so-called strongest forces. Seeing this outcome, Lord of Sui Ming, who had regained hope, fell into despair once again. In disbelief, they watched as the three heavenly lords were sent flying by a single strike. And to make them understand the gap in power between us, I erupted with a surge of demonic energy that spread throughout the surroundings. But those ignorant immortals still lack self-awareness. The seal of the formation must have already consumed a great deal of his power. We still have a chance of winning. Those in the immortal venerable realm and immortal emperor realm, follow my lead in deploying the formation. Finally, they shouted with conviction, believing that righteousness would ultimately triumph over evil, and charged at me. In response to their childish actions, my mocking laughter echoed through the heavens and the earth. Simultaneously, I gathered a ball of malevolent energy in my hand. You insignificant pests, let me show you how laughable your concept of righteousness is. And upon seeing the expanding energy in my hand, those immortals remained motionless, trembling uncontrollably. Observing their pitiful state, I chuckled and threw the ball at them. A series of delightful screams followed. Congratulations to the host for killing the triple immortal venerable realm, rewarding 50 million domain value. Congratulations to the host for killing the immortal emperor realm, rewarding 150 million domain value. This shocking scene left Chang Shi and Han Shi in utter confusion, their expressions frozen in this moment. Now, as I looked at the dwindling number of immortals, though I wanted to eliminate them all, it would contradict my original mission's purpose. Just as I pondered how to conclude things, a figure in golden armor seized the opportunity while I was lost in thought. With a sword breaking through the smoke, he charged at me. In the next moment, I grabbed the man's cheeks with both hands. The man in golden armor exclaimed, "Oh no, I've been restrained." One by one, the insignificant pests panicked as they watched the man I toyed with. It's Feng Qiyun. That kid is probably going to fall into the hands of the demon lord. Young Feng Qiyun's eyes were filled with tears of grievance as he continuously shouted at me. I was wrong. I was wrong. Spare me, brave hero. At this moment, I confirmed that the idiot before me was indeed my unreliable master. With a mischievous heart, I slapped his cheeks. I never expected to uncover more of my master's dark history. Thousands of years ago, he was actually a little puppy. Then, I threw him backward with a single motion. I'm in a good mood today. Get lost. Next time I see you, it will be your death sentence. And in my heart, I thought, my foolish master, please don't come looking for death again. After dealing with that group of pests, I walked slowly toward Chang Shi. Now it's time to talk about serious matters. Then I stepped in front of Chang Shi and lightly called out, "Weapon spirit, come out." In an instant, the whole world was enveloped in green energy. For a moment, all the images froze in this instant. The weapon spirit shyly called out my name at this moment. Ignoring her appearance, I said to her, "You've given me too little information. Right now, I've only figured out the cause of the immortal demon war and the greatest threat. I've already dealt with Demon Lord Tushur, and the goddess has been saved, hasn't she?" But the next words from the weapon spirit plunged me into silence. The future hasn't changed at all. Then, the weapon spirit slowly said, "I can still sense that there are more terrifying things yet to come. The master still cannot escape the fate of being killed." Thinking of this, the weapon spirit anxiously covered her eyes. There is a group of monsters trampling upon us, making it impossible for us to survive or die. Seeing the weapon spirit in such a panicked state, I hurriedly asked her if she remembered anything else. Could she recall who killed her? The weapon spirit continued, "I only remember that in countless attempts in the past, I saved her from different people's hands. but in the end, she still died in the same way. That is something I cannot prevent. Helpless, I looked at her and said, when others ask for my help, they always explain the whole situation clearly. But you left me with nothing. Do you think I'm playing a detective game? After hearing this, the weapon spirit apologized repeatedly to me and pleaded for me to save her master. She had already shouldered too much burden and should not bear that cruel fate. After finishing her words, the weapon spirit seemed to have exhausted her energy and slowly disappeared. There are still 2 days left for the assessment. Please stop the predetermined fate. I had a face full of disbelief as I watched her disappear. Where should I go to prevent it with only 2 days left? Seeing the power of the weapon spirit slowly dissipating, I thought it would be enough to prevent Changxi's death by dealing with the key individuals. Now it seems that I have underestimated it. If they can survive until the end, it means that Tushar, who had just emerged, failed to defeat them. He might have even died at their hands. Although I can easily kill those annoying guys, according to the butterfly effect, it would have a huge impact millions of years later. Everything else doesn't matter, but what should I do if I accidentally make my wife disappear too? If weapon spirit is correct, then Tushar is just a pawn, and there is a bigger conspiracy behind this. Then, I grabbed Changxi's waist and said, just the involvement of a goddess can lead to such a big event, that itself needs to be considered. Subsequently, with Changxi looking dumbfounded, I flew into the air and shouted for Hanxi, who was also stunned below, to follow. Then, with the 2 women, I walked towards the teleportation gate. Although the immortals and other factions witnessed this scene, no one dared to intervene and stop us. They all pushed and shoved, urging others to go forward. I sneered at their hidden intentions. They were truly a bunch of useless cowards. It's better to keep the people close to me first. As for how to find out what happens in the future, I also have a rough idea. Only after I left, did the crowd start breathing heavily and prepare to seek assistance from the higher-level divine clans. The 3 heavenly lords in the lead also made fierce remarks. I knew it. Changxi is a manipulative woman who takes advantage of others. Surprisingly, without any resistance, they left like that. Heavenly Lord's expression turned serious as he said, hurry and report this matter to the divine realm. Say that the goddess has betrayed us, just as prophesied. Then he approached Feng Qiyun and the others. The few of you, with Feng Qiyun as the leader, form a small team responsible for tracking the heavenly demon's whereabouts. Find out what he is up to. Another man was about to decline due to his own insufficient strength, but Heavenly Lord of Radiant Brilliance replied coldly, I am one of the Heavenly Lords in the immortal realm. Sacrifices necessary for the welfare of all realms are worthwhile. Here is a communication talisman that can monitor the images within a certain range. Once you have set it up, you can return. Just as Feng Qiyun was about to argue using their exhaustion as a reason, he saw the eyes of Heavenly Lord of Radiant Brilliance devoid of any warmth. I am not seeking your advice. If you are unwilling to do it, I will punish you for treason, but if you cannot bring back anything, then never return. After giving these instructions, the 3 heavenly lords swiftly left the scene. The blonde man on the side mentioned rumors about Changxi. It is said that she and that recent witch are from the same sect. They must have gone to the demon realm together. Feng Qiyun listened carefully and said seriously, entering the demon realm itself is dangerous, let alone tracking a new demon lord. Meanwhile, I took them to a safe place. It seems that the 2 of them won't recover for a while. They were probably scared by something that shattered their understanding. Then I shouted, little system, I want to go home. The system couldn't believe it and asked me, have you gone crazy? This is a time millions of years ago when you didn't even have a home. I answered that I wanted to go back to my timeline. The system asked disappointedly, are you giving up? I interrupted it and replied, I just want to go back and find some answers. Stop fantasizing about useless things all the time. I had just returned to my original form when I was enveloped by 2 soft figures in front of my chest. Master, you're back. Bayu's sister conveyed a message that you had disappeared. We were so worried, they said. I smiled and touched these 2 adorable beings. I'm sorry for making you worry, but has my master returned? I have many things to ask him. Patriarch is on its way back. I couldn't help but reveal a sly smile. Didn't expect that, did you? I can view the historical plot. Meanwhile, in a corner of the 9-state continent, cries of surprise suddenly rang out. It turned out that a man named Old Chong appeared before the surviving celestial beings. Everyone pleaded with this man, asking for his help to save them and restore their dignity as immortals. The man known as Old Chong looked coldly at them and said, the heavenly demon has emerged. There will be a battle. Returning to the ancient continent is not a bad idea. However, to go back, we need to control the 9-state cauldron. As long as I can master Jiang Xianchu and take her body without anyone noticing, then we can control Chinchonan's lifeline. She is the person closest to Chinchonan. I will borrow her hand to retrieve the 9-state cauldron and release the monsters buried beneath the 9 states for millions of years. The immortal realm has been destroyed, and we are no longer on the same side. Since that's the case, let's die together. Old Chong looked confidently at Jiang Xianchu in the mirror as he continued. According to our investigation, to suppress Jiang Xuanchu's soul, Chen Chanan entrusted the 9-state cauldron to the head of the Jiang family. The entire Jiang family has been guarding Jiang Xianchu day and night. I've tried to negotiate with them, but it ended in failure. The surviving stragglers asked, "How can we get close to Jiang Xianchu?" Old Chong replied, "Firstly, the Jiang family is located above Cloud State, and Chen Chanan is not by their side. This is one of our opportunities for action. Secondly, I cultivate the cycle of reincarnation. This cycle of reincarnation has accompanied my practice for millions of years, possessing the power to disrupt the transmigration of souls. The method of soul snatching is extremely covert, leaving no trace in reality. I have never failed. Thirdly, all celestial beings need to seek revenge against the Jiang family and settle their grievances, carry out minor disturbances on the surface in the name of betraying immortals. Remember, the only one we need to beware of is Chen Chanan. This operation must be completed within 10 breaths. Once the time limit is exceeded, flee immediately. Otherwise, both you and I will be instantly discovered by Chen Chanan and meet our demise on the spot." After finishing the instructions, Old Chong shouted and began the operation. He transformed into a golden light and entered Jiang Xuanchu's body. At the same time, the other stragglers took action and rushed towards the location of the Jiang family. When the Jiang family saw the incoming celestial beings, their expressions turned uneasy. "These are the surviving immortals from the Black Tortoise realm. What are they suddenly doing here?" the leading man shouted. "Have you forgotten how you betrayed us?" Jiang Ningran instantly shouted, "Not good." Then, taking the lead, she rushed forward in advance to deal with the Black Tortoise realm immortals. "Those unrelated, leave immediately. Listen to my command. Jiang family disciples, protect Jiang Xianchu. Jiang Xianchu is the lifeline of our Jiang family and must not be harmed." Then a war erupted over Jiang Xianchu, with everyone vying to seize her. On the other side, Old Chong had already found the hiding place of Jiang Xuanchu's divine soul. With a loud shout, he was ready to completely obliterate Jiang Xianchu. However, just as Old Chong's plan was about to succeed, a delicate, pink arm instantly slapped away the golden arm. Old Chong was startled by this sudden protection and shouted, "Who is it?" When Old Chong recognized the person, his uncontrollable anger surged. "How could you be here?" However, the Jiang family's master paid him no attention and kicked Old Chong away with a single kick. "You have no right to speak here. Get out." Feeling the strength of this powerful attack, Old Chong instantly understood everything, the intensity of this spiritual attack. "I never thought you would stoop to such a level. Willing to be threatened by Chen Chanan to protect Jiang Xianchu, willingly binding your own divine soul with this girl. I thought you still had some defiance in your heart, some of the pride and dignity of an immortal, waiting for the day to strike back. But everything you have done now truly disappoints me. Are you that afraid of him?" Simultaneously, Old Chong created a blue vortex that severely injured Jiang Ningran's divine soul. Then Old Chong's aura began to rise continuously. "Do you know that compared to me, your true power falls short? In actual combat, you have no chance of winning. Yet, you are willing to give up millions of years of cultivation to condense a powerful divine soul just to hold on to this girl's remnant soul in my hands. You really are beyond redemption." Jiang Ningran did not change her position due to Old Chong's provocation. "When it comes to settling scores, I am better at calculating. Only with Jiang Xianchu in our Jiang family can we have a way out, so you can forget about having any designs on her." At the same time, a strong burst of flames erupted from Jiang Ningran's body. Old Chong's expression became panicked. "Burning your divine soul? Are you insane?" But then the flames engulfed him, swallowing him along with his final words. Subsequently, 2 divine souls exited Jiang Xuanchu's body, and Old Chong's divine soul suffered considerable damage from Jiang Ningran's self-destruction. He cursed, "Today, I will surely destroy your Jiang family." Jiang Yuchang supported the heavily injured Jiang Ningran and asked, "What happened to you, master?" Soon, several celestial beings arrived at the scene. The Jiang family disciples, in a disadvantaged position, shouted at the surrounding celestial beings, "Are you really going to slaughter our Jiang family?" At this moment, Old Chong's expression turned dark and gloomy. "Before Chen Chanan arrives, I still have time to deal with these people and seize Jiang Xianchu. Jiang family, Jiang Ningran, today I will let you see how it feels to have your painstaking efforts of thousands of years destroyed in an instant." Upon hearing Old Chong's threat, Jiang Ningran struggled to break free and engage in a desperate battle with him. But Jiang Yuchang grabbed hold of him. "Master, you can't." Then, the small team formed by Old Bull and the others arrived on the battlefield and protected Jiang Xianchu in the center. "Old man, as long as Old Bull is here, you won't get near her even by half a step." When Old Chong saw that these were nothing more than insignificant ants daring to speak so brazenly in front of him, his murderous intent soared, tinting the surroundings with a touch of blood. Bull, sensing this murderous intent, was instantly terrified, his face turning several shades darker. He stuttered, "Is this the immortal emperor? We are no match for him at all. Has the master been fighting against such enemies all this time?" Thinking of this, Bull lowered his head in fear. "This time, we're done for. Master, I will be loyal to you in my next life." However, after a few breaths, Old Bull, with a terrified expression, looked up at the old man. "Why haven't you made a move? I'm waiting here to die." Old Chong, who had just been magnificent and unstoppable, now seemed as if he had aged thousands of years. His body trembled uncontrollably. Then, gritting his teeth, he spoke word by word. "They are nothing more than a group of insignificant ants. In the past, would you dare to stand in front of this emperor? On what grounds do you dare to confront this emperor now? Everything has changed. Is it you who is laughable, or is it me? I, as an immortal emperor and one of the leaders of the immortal realm, with cultivation of millions of years, find myself restrained by a group of ants. It's all your fault, Chinchanan. And now, I have arrived at this place, quietly watching everything happening in front of me. Everyone became extremely vigilant upon seeing my figure. How did Chinchanan come here? Wasn't there still 10 seconds left?" My expression darkened, and I let out a sigh. Cloud State is quite chaotic today. Immediately, all the immortals, except for Old Chong, dropped dead on the spot without exception. Old Chong, the mastermind behind it all, trembled uncontrollably. The system prompt also sounded, "Congratulations, host, for killing a triple immortal venerable. Reward, 50 million domain value." In the next moment, I heard a thud. The lofty Old Chong was finally defeated by fear. With a gloomy expression, I walked towards the old man who had lost his fighting power. "Harming my wife is a capital offense. How do you want to die?" Feeling the terrifying aura emanating from me, the old man, who was tens of millions of years old, was reminded of past memories. This was even stronger than the heavenly demon encountered millions of years ago. He immediately fell to his knees, hoping I would spare his life. The chief of the White Fox clan behind me was also astonished. The Lord of the State is so powerful. Even the world-destroying immortal emperor kneels before him. Old Bull, witnessing my formidable display, started to fantasize. If I could reach this realm in my lifetime, However, I had no intention of letting him off. At the same time, I placed my hand on his head. "You should have thought of this outcome before you acted. Give me a reason to delay killing you." Old Chong hastily shouted, "I do. I'm willing to reveal all the secrets." Hearing him rambling on, I immediately interrupted him. "Talk about the events of the ancient continent period." But the following words he spoke were still of no substantial help to me. Seeing that I was about to erupt, Old Chong immediately seized the key point. "I also know where the immortals and heavenly demons come from. Moreover, I also know who the heavenly demon woman that appeared a few days ago is. Her name is Han Chi, the saintess of the heavenly demon clan. It is said that she has been leading the demon army in search of someone for millions of years, but we are not sure who that person is. On the surface, she occupies various realms, but those are just the outward appearance of the heavenly demon army." Upon hearing something useful, I signaled him to continue. "The first time I saw her was millions of years ago. The immortal venerable above sent me and a few colleagues to investigate a demon leader. I even saw her with my own eyes. In less than half a day, we found their location. Then, I instructed Feng Qian to keep an eye on them while I went to a secluded place to transmit information. However, even if that demon leader was sleeping, he was terrifyingly powerful. At that time, my cultivation was still shallow, so I was afraid and didn't dare to act rashly. Later, I told Feng Qian to stay there while I left with the others to report back. When we came back later, they had disappeared without a trace." Old Chong anxiously asked Feng Qian, "Where did the heavenly demon go?" Feng Qian felt somewhat guilty and rubbed his head, apologizing repeatedly. "I was too far away at the time and didn't dare to approach." In a moment of carelessness, the witch took the opportunity to use spatial magic to teleport away. Judging from the trajectory of the spatial magic, they should have headed towards that dark and dense forest ahead. After hearing this, Old Chong angrily grabbed Feng Qian's collar and reprimanded him. "Why didn't you stop them? You can't even handle a small matter. Do you know how much importance is placed on it above?" But before he could completely absolve himself of responsibility, he was interrupted by the arrival of God's envoy. "Forget it. If that heavenly demon is as powerful as you say, if we rashly intervened, all we would see now is corpses." Then, he comforted Feng Qian, "Your judgment was not wrong. Knowing their location is enough for now." Feng Qian, upon hearing this, excitedly fell to his knees and thanked God's envoy for understanding. To be honest, I have never seen such a powerful heavenly demon before. As long as I get close to him, my body trembles uncontrollably, suppressed by fear, unable to move. I can't imagine how many people would die if someone like him were to initiate a war. We must find him and seal him, no matter the cost. After hearing this, God's envoy removed the cloak from his head. We, the God's envoys, have come out this time to receive orders to subdue this new demon leader. And it's not just me, even the master of the divine maiden has mobilized. Upon hearing the earth-shattering secret revealed by God's envoy, Feng Qian was filled with shock and fear. Are you saying we have alerted that person? God's envoy didn't answer Feng Qian's question and continued. Although finding people is easy, this forest ahead is filled with countless extremely evil high-level demons. It will greatly hinder our search progress, forcing our way and may not yield good results. The key is that these beastly demons have high ranks, and the only rule among them is that the strong are respected. They fight and devour each other all day until a soul king emerges. Any cultivator below a mortal venerable who enters will be torn to pieces by the demons. With the strength of those two girls, intruding on their own is undoubtedly seeking death. Then, one by one, figures in black robes leaped up, while the demon leader remained silent at the moment, planning who knows what. Although the demon leader is the strongest existence surpassing all heavenly demons, even so, even if it's like entering a dragon's den or a tiger's lair, we have to go in and strangle this beast. On the other side, the two girls were moving through the forest, and all the surrounding demons were as gentle as little cats, showing no signs of the legendary ferocity. Chang Shi and the others couldn't make sense of the situation. Han Shi suddenly recalled her previous experience of coming here alone, where she was completely toyed with by them. But now, she clearly felt that they had developed a profound respect for her. Chang Shi spoke up to explain, the demons are born from the desires and sinful thoughts of the primordial gods. Although they are fierce and combative, their rules are also extremely simple. They instinctively respect the strong. Their original king was the demon lord Tushur, but now it should be the one we're carrying. Han Shi stood still in astonishment after hearing this, then stared straight at me, who was sleeping. It seemed like something strange in her mind suddenly clicked. Immediately, Han Shi threw my body to Chang Shi, and Chang Shi blushed as she caught me. She loudly asked, Han Shi, what are you doing? But in the next moment, Han Shi ran towards the demons who had once bullied her. You guys like to chase after me, right? Come on, bite me, you idiots. I have an incredible memory for grudges. Chang Shi shouted, Han Shi, come back. I can't carry him by myself. But the demons didn't fall for Han Shi's bluff and opened their bloody mouths, ready to tear her into pieces. Han Shi panicked and hid behind my body. When she saw that the demons didn't dare to approach, Han Shi imitated my voice and whispered to the demons, I'll slaughter you all. The low-intelligence demons became scared and ran away with their tiny short legs. After seeing the demons leave, Han Shi let out a sigh of relief, trembling. That scared me. If it wasn't for Big Brother, I might not be here right now. Han Shi's actions finally ignited Chang Shi's anger. She fiercely punched Han Shi on the forehead and said, stop playing around. Until nightfall, the two girls finally found a relatively safe place and leaned against a giant rock, breathing heavily. It was at this moment that Han Shi found a creature shaped like a buttock from somewhere. This creature had a rapid reproductive speed and would release odor and noise when stepped on, making it suitable for alerting enemies. After completing all of this, Han Shi cautiously surveyed the surroundings. Although she was mischievous on ordinary days, she could still be relied upon in life-threatening situations. After confirming that the area was safe, Han Shi took a step towards Chang Shi. What should we do now? The Heavenly Demon Clan despises you to the core, and now even the Immortal Clan has dispatched elites to hunt you down. I never expected that you, who are called the Goddess, would be in a worse situation than a lowly heavenly demon like me. If we need to escape, we can do it on our own. Why did we have to bring him along? Isn't this just asking for trouble? Chang Shi scolded Han Shi, saying that she had grown up but still had no brain. Only when he is present will immortals show concern. They wouldn't easily approach us. Besides, he looks exactly like Chinchanan. Don't you want to know who he really is? Han Shi turned her head somewhat guiltily. I don't want to know. It's definitely not that lecherous idiot lackey. Chang Shi suddenly expressed her doubts. 2 days ago, I felt like he suddenly became somewhat different. I took the opportunity to examine his origin, and the result was quite unique. But now his origin is the same as before. I can't tell if he's a celestial being or a demon. The only thing I can confirm is that with the energy he currently contains in his body, if unleashed, it could destroy heaven and earth. I can be sure that there's no one in the immortal realm who can match him at the moment. He carries too many secrets that we don't know. Hearing Chang Shi's explanation, Han Shi felt her scalp tingle. After he wakes up, will he kill us and turn us into firewood? Chang Shi jokingly replied, he should be killing you, right? Han Shi shouted loudly, that's unfair. Why only me? Seeing Han Shi's reaction, Chang Shi wore a smug expression. Have you forgotten how you treated him before? I blushed just from seeing those inappropriate actions you took. And you were trying to get close to me just to steal my artifact. You two are so heartless. It hurts my heart, Mom's heart. Han Shi, like an angry little cat, screamed. Go to hell. You know everything and still pretend to play with us. Changshi smiled and said to Han Shi, is it not possible? It's been a long time since you had a good conversation with your senior sister. You're always running around for no apparent reason, pretending to be busy. Han Shi retorted angrily, I am busy. Those old folks in the clan are constantly flattering me. Changshi chuckled and tapped Han Shi's head gently. Stop acting tough. I know you're accustomed to laziness in your daily life. You can't stick to anything for long. You dislike fighting and killing the most. So, don't get involved in the upcoming events. I will personally explain the sealing matter to the Immortal Clan. As for Chinchanan, he's a special case. He doesn't possess the nature of a demon or the aura of an immortal. His appearance has shattered everyone's understanding. Moreover, he could have unleashed a massacre at that time, but he chose to save me. Most importantly, I discovered that he can communicate with my artifact. Upon hearing Changshi's analysis, Han Shi's gaze became vacant. Then Changshi continued with a speculation that she herself found hard to believe. He is likely from the future. Although I don't know his purpose, I'm certain that he is not an enemy to both of us. He clearly possesses the power to destroy everything but has been pretending to be weak, and I even flirted with him before. Now, the conflicts between the immortal and demon realms are becoming irreconcilable. As long as either side gains Chinchanan's support, war could break out at any time. Our master accepted you as a disciple to set an example for peace between the two realms. But this peace didn't last long. I cannot let this peaceful time be eroded by war, so we must not hand over Chinchanan. Hearing this, Han Shi was filled with fear and immediately questioned Changshi if she had gone mad. What can we do? What are our capabilities? Changshi ignored Han Shi's retort and continued to discuss the next plan. I will go and intercept the pursuit of the god's envoy. You take the sleeping Chinchanan and find a hidden place to hide. Once everything settles down, I will contact you. I will go back and explain the situation to our master. She will definitely help me. Seeing Changshi's determination, Han Shi reluctantly bit her lip and agreed. Meanwhile, Changshi intentionally exposed her aura to attract the arrival of the people from the immortal realm who were searching for her. At the same time, several figures noticed the spatial fluctuations emanating from the forest and looked in that direction. Found it, exclaimed one of them. On the other side, Han Shi turned back reluctantly to look at Changshi. Remember to let me know when you're safe. Just as Han Shi was about to enter the teleportation array, a purple figure suddenly flew out from behind Changshi. The man in golden armor shouted loudly, Goddess Changshi, you let the demon head escape. However, Han Shi's figure hadn't completely disappeared into the teleportation space. In order to ensure her safe departure, Changshi reached out and touched the mark of her artifact on her chest. Artifact, assist me one more time. Immediately, a green light instantly froze the entire world. At that moment, both the god's envoy and the pursuers came to a halt. Then Changshi spoke in a low voice, God's envoy, please atone for your sins. The goddess of spring is here to stop you. I only hope that the god's envoy will allow me to see my master, the god's envoy of pure virtue. However, in the next moment, the frozen space unexpectedly shattered. Immediately, a cold voice sounded in Changshi's ear. Changshi, you have disappointed me greatly. But before Changshi could explain, the person waved their hand and dispelled Changshi's spatial magic. I entrusted you with the duty of guarding the heavenly demon's sealing stone and the artifact. How did you manage it? The seal broke early, allowing the heavenly demon to bring calamity to the world. At this point, you still refuse to repent and continue to associate with the heavenly demon. Then, with icy eyes, the person looked at their former disciple. Take her back and imprison her in the sealing place. I will personally deal with her. Seeing the cold gaze from her master, Changshi helplessly knelt down on the ground, pleading for her master's forgiveness. Demon Lord Tusher's breakout from the seal has hidden motives. I beg my master for an opportunity to explain. However, the woman ignored Changshi's plea and coldly told her to go back and speak later. I will make my own judgment. Meanwhile, to the god's envoy who came to capture Changshi, she said, I will take this person with me. You continue tracking the newly emerged demon lord. It must be sealed before they reach the heavenly demon clan. Upon hearing the woman's command, the others readily agreed without hesitation. Then the leader spoke to the group. The heavenly demon is still in the dense forest. Everyone, split up and confirm the location of the heavenly demon. We will seal him together. After assigning the tasks, everyone dispersed in different directions. Feng Chiyun, who was walking in the forest, anxiously asked the man in golden armor, do you think we can successfully seal that guy? However, the man was extremely confident about it. We have so many gods' envoys. They are the closest beings to gods in the immortal realm. If they can't handle it, unless the gods themselves descend, no one can restrain that heavenly demon. In the dense forest, a blue teleportation gate suddenly opened in the sky. Shortly after, Han Shi, with my clone, fell out of it. Noticing that the teleportation gate appeared near the edge of a cliff, Hanshi exclaimed fearfully. Where the hell is this place? Their landing on the ground happened to interrupt a monster in the midst of defecating. The noise caught the attention of the god's envoy who was tracking Hanshi's whereabouts. They immediately halted and said, "Over there." Hanshi angrily stared at me, who was still drowsy, and said, "He can't even be awakened by such a big commotion. When is he going to sleep until?" Hanshi, who broke free, forcefully dragged my clone along. It's impossible to run fast with this guy. The distance we can move is getting shorter. Not only do we have to evade pursuit, but the positioning is also becoming more and more off. If this continues, no one will be able to get out. Suddenly, excitement flashed in Hanshi's eyes. Without hesitation, she pushed my clone aside and next to the monster. "I'm leaving this man to you. Take good care of him." After dealing with the burden, Hanshi's face relaxed, and she whistled as she left alone. "I'm sorry, they're after you, and I can't endure this suffering. So, I'm sorry to inconvenience you." Immediately after, Hanshi opened a teleportation gate and waved to the monster behind her. "I won't bother with this thankless task." After Hanshi left, the sound of hurried footsteps suddenly came. Upon seeing my figure, the approaching individuals stopped in their tracks. The leading god's envoy gestured to the others to hide, but when he saw me sitting there, a sense of foreboding arose in his heart. Not only are there monsters present, but has he not only subdued them but also turned them into his servants? She wondered. And why are his eyes closed? Could he be deliberately pretending not to have noticed us, and planning to catch us off guard? Soon, she noticed the chilling aura emanating from me. Fear replaced her expression. He knows we're here. He's deliberately pretending not to have noticed us, waiting for the perfect opportunity to capture us all. Quickly making up her mind, she realized they couldn't get any closer. Otherwise, not only herself but everyone would die at his hands. She ordered the others to quickly retreat in the opposite direction. After they left, the dominant monster in the forest stood guard in front of me, wagging its tail. In the next moment, the monster sensed a strange aura and looked in that direction. Hanshi walked out of the teleportation array with a worried expression on her face. "I'll still be merciful and help you find a safer place," she said. The monster recognized her and showed a terrified expression, continuously protesting with growls. However, Hanshi paid no attention to its reaction and walked towards the teleportation array with my clone, explaining to me along the way, "I didn't intentionally abandon you just now. I was just going to scout the area." On the other side, the god's envoy who discovered my trail had already joined the others. "I've found the demon lord's tracks. Although he hasn't made a move, I'm certain he's lying in wait. He must have realized my presence, but I saw through his trickery. However, our situation is quite passive at the moment. The enemy is in the dark while we are in the light. Let's wait until all reinforcements arrive and catch him off guard." Just as Hanshi made up her mind, she heartlessly threw my clone near the edge of the cliff, calling it sufficiently concealed here. Then she opened the teleportation array again, preparing to leave quietly. "Although Senior Sister said you're important, I currently don't have the ability to take you out. In any case, I can't let those perverted god's envoys catch me, or else I'll face cruel torture." On the other side, Feng Qian protested against the god's envoy. "What if the demon takes the opportunity to escape while we wait for reinforcements? Besides, this might be a deliberate deception by the demon lord to mislead us." The god's envoy shook his head and pointed at Feng Qian, saying, "Youngster, you're still too naive. We're familiar with the nature of the heavenly demon. They're wicked, cunning, and adept at ambushes. Once they find an opportunity, they will tear your body apart like a venomous snake." As he spoke, the god's envoy couldn't help but tremble. Seeing the reaction of the god's envoy, the blonde man expressed his agreement. "Perhaps we fell into the trap set by that demon the moment we entered. They won't let such a good opportunity slip away." The god's envoy, hearing his analysis, continued with a lingering fear. "He must have hesitated to attack us directly. Perhaps he wants to test how many people we have. He's truly a despicable and vile creature. When the 3 members of the second team of God's envoys arrive, we'll strike back together and annihilate him." However, as soon as the god's envoy finished speaking, he noticed a figure appearing on the opposite hilltop, and at that moment, his whole body couldn't help but tremble. When did he arrive? Or was he already observing us there? He wondered. Not good. Our plan is exposed. The god's envoy, without caring about his image, screamed in terror, "Run!" The blonde man, seeing my figure again, felt his heart sink to the bottom. Why is he everywhere? We're surrounded by him. Immediately, everyone turned around and rushed out of the forest at the fastest speed. Feng Qian, in the midst of escaping, suddenly noticed figures emerging from the trees. "Something is chasing us." The nearby god's envoy immediately gathered 2 strands of thunderous aura. "It's an ambush." Luckily, Granny noticed it early. "That demon must want to exhaust us with these beasts." In the next moment, the man released a powerful technique to repel the approaching monsters. "With me here, I won't let you succeed." The defeated monster happened to fly towards Hanshi, who had just walked out of the teleportation array. If I hadn't heard it with my own ears, I wouldn't dare believe that this group of lofty gods' envoys could be so embarrassed in front of Chinchanan while he was asleep. Thinking of this, Hanshi returned to my side and took me along into the forest. Then, she slapped my back and suddenly a blue magic array lit up. Hanshi spoke with some solemnity. I don't know if this method will work. Let's give it a try anyway. In the next moment, Hanshi's arm passed through the teleportation magic array, and then her whole body entered into mine. Immediately, my tightly closed eyes snapped open, but there was a hint of confusion in my gaze. It turned out that Hanshi had successfully controlled my demonic clone through some method. Hanshi, thrilled with her successful possession, burst into laughter. She then walked towards the cliff and looked down. The next thing to do was to play a good prank on those people. The god's envoy, who was frantically fleeing through the forest, suddenly realized that Feng Qiyun and the others had accidentally lost track of them. The leading god's envoy expressed indifference, saying, "As long as we god's envoys are alive, the immortal realm won't fall." The disappearance of those two useless individuals just happened to distract that demon. This operation has put us in a passive position. We have to wait until everyone is gathered to deal with that demon properly. Her bold words had just been spoken when a familiar figure appeared before her. Hanshi looked at the scattered god's envoys, who were scurrying about. With a hint of amusement, she warmly greeted them, saying, "Hello there." This action also put the god's envoy and the others on high alert. "Don't make any rash moves. He has no intention of fighting us. He's just playing with us like caged birds. If we take action now, there's only a dead end. We must retreat with all our strength." Then, Granny, with a nervous expression, transmitted her voice to the people beside her. "We shouldn't have split up from the beginning. Wherever we go now, he can find us. There's no denying that we're completely surrounded by him. All we can do now is to escape from this place." Immediately, the group fled in the other direction once again, and on their faces, there was no longer any intention to resist. Only endless fear appeared on their faces. After running for a while, Granny exclaimed with joy, "It's an exit. We're saved." Until the few of them had left the dense forest, the fake demon lord, controlled by Hanshi, didn't launch any attacks. In the next moment, Hanshi controlled my body and burst into laughter. "You fools! What a bunch of idiots! I didn't expect it to go so smoothly. Chinchanan, oh Chinchanan, even in your unconscious state, you can scare the other party shitless. You're truly amazing." I, Hanshi, did get a big advantage. I only pretended and scared them away. Self-rescue succeeded. However, I can indeed feel the immense magical power filling this body. The only drawback is that there's something awkward between my legs. Sensing the movement of that foreign object, Hanshi involuntarily tightened her legs. Just as Hanshi was immersed in her thoughts, a loud shout came from behind. "Die, Demon Lord!" Upon seeing the incoming person clearly, Hanshi nervously raised her hand to shield her face. It was the god's envoy from the second group. "This is bad." At the same time, she shouted, "Wait!" The man who approached saw that the demon lord was just a weakling, and he was overjoyed. "Why wait? We must claim this credit before Granny does." Dying in the hands of the three of us, the god's envoys, can also be considered. Before they could finish their words, a powerful energy burst forth from Hanshi's hand. It was an accidental release of power, but it split the dense forest in half. The expected attack did not materialize. Hanshi, filled with fear, slowly opened her eyes. She witnessed the renowned forbidden forest of the demon race being destroyed by this single strike, its gates obliterated. The man who survived nearby was filled with terror. With just one strike, it killed Old Li and Old Chin of the Domain Lord realm. The demon lord with such terrifying power had never been seen before. Perhaps only the god's envoy of pure virtue could contend with a demon of this level. The man then threw off his outer robe. "Everyone, forgive me, but I can no longer roam the world with you. I must stay here and use my true form to probe the enemy's true strength, making a final contribution to our cause. No matter what you say, I will make you shed a layer of skin." In the next moment, the man transformed from a normal human body into a twisted demon. The transformed demon man rushed towards Hanshi with full force. "Demon Lord, your shoelace is loose. Bow down and check it." Seeing that Hanshi was unfazed, the man coldly snorted. No flaws indeed. Hanshi, who possessed power and control, didn't hesitate this time and struck the approaching monster with a lethal punch. In the next moment, the monster was torn in half by this strange force. Just before dying, the man shouted unwillingly, "Damn Demon Lord." After dealing with the pursuers, Hanshi arrived at a secluded valley. In the center of this treacherous valley stood an inconspicuous little house. It was one of the few places that could be called home for Hanshi. However, Hanshi had already dispelled the possession spell and knelt down on the ground, coughing up blood. Once she regained her senses, Hanshi forced herself to stand up, but unexpectedly, she stumbled and fell heavily. Coincidentally, she fell right beside me. As the long night passed, there were suddenly several pieces of clothing next to the bed. Hanshi finally woke up, feeling a splitting headache, whether it was due to the side effects of possession or something else. Next, she realized something was wrong. She was completely naked, as if something indescribable had happened with Chinchanan. It turns out that she had given herself away unknowingly. Hanshi covered her already blushing cheeks with her hand. What on earth happened? How could I have done such a thing? Looking at his appearance, could it be that I accidentally had sex with him? It's probably because of the long repressed desires. During my unconsciousness, I must have released myself completely on him. Then Hanshi closed her lips tightly and pondered quietly. After all, senior sister entrusted me to protect him, but I couldn't help but turn him into my man. However, when she think about how her injuries healed quickly during the intercourse and there were signs of a breakthrough, Hanshi's gaze became blurred again. Anyway, it's already like this. If we do it again, it wouldn't be excessive, right? After all, if I'm not in a good condition, I won't be able to protect him, right? Then, strange sounds kept coming from the little house. Inside the palace of Swaiming Country, the ruler of Swaiming Country turned to the generals next to him and made a brief report. Goddess is indulging in promiscuity with male companions, causing a depletion of the formation's divine power, which allowed the demon lord to break the seal. Generals, you must kill her to protect the people. The heavenly lord of radiant brilliance responded coldly to the request of Swaiming Country's ruler. We have no authority to decide. Everything will be based on the words of the god's envoy of pure virtue. She is known for her strict justice. We will wait for instructions and carry them out accordingly. The most important thing now is to track down the demon lord's whereabouts. Once he returns to the demon realm, war is likely to erupt again. Swaiming Country should be prepared for war. With that, they transformed into 3 rays of light and disappeared into the sky. After the others left, a man stepped forward and reported to the ruler of Swaiming Country. Heavenly Demon has been preparing for war for many years, waiting for the demon lord to lead them back. Upon hearing the report from his subordinate, the ruler of Swaiming Country immediately spoke out. No longer in a submissive manner. You fools were supposed to steal the divine power, but you actually shattered the formation. How did I instruct you back then? Now that you've created such a big mess, are you in such a hurry to die? He then ordered everyone to come up with a reasonable plan to elude the pursuit of the immortals within 3 days. If not, they should just clean their necks and wait for death at home. The leader of the group, a chubby man, immediately spoke up. We provided so many male servants to Goddess for her pleasure, all for today. As long as we firmly claim that Goddess was obsessed with men, thus delaying the best opportunity to seal the demon lord, she will become the target of everyone's criticism and unable to defend herself when the war between immortals and demons breaks out. Upon hearing the reminder from the chubby man, the ruler of Swaiming Country felt delighted. It's the brilliance of my advisor's mind. Indeed, this was our original plan. Only when the immortals and demons are fighting each other can we reap countless benefits. And on the other side, God's envoy of pure virtue stood with a gloomy expression, arms crossed. I already have a general understanding of the situation. Your crimes deserve death. The thunder prison that imprisoned you for 1,000 years and the heavenly fire that scorches bones are just the beginning. I have repeatedly instructed you that sealing the demon lord is a matter of utmost importance. It will affect the 3 realms and all living beings. Even I find it difficult to intervene and save you in the current situation. Immediately, hands tightly gripped Changshi's cheeks. This foolish girl should have sought me earlier, feeling the familiar touch. I was wrong, Changshi replied, simultaneously defending herself. Master, you were traveling through the realms. How could I find you? God's envoy of pure virtue retorted angrily. Don't you have my voice transmitter? Changshi became even more aggrieved. I only see you once every few hundred years, and every time you say you'll give me, but you always forget as soon as you turn around. I even suspect that you have some wild man outside and you're too lazy to care about us. Upon hearing Changshi's words, God's envoy of pure virtue blushed. As a beauty like me, which stinking man is worthy of me? Men only slow down my sword drawing speed. Reluctantly, Changshi agreed with her master's words. Indeed, the disgusting men in this world cannot catch the attention of my beautiful master. After a moment, Changshi couldn't help but bite her lip and said in a low voice to God's envoy of pure virtue, Master, I really missed you after not seeing you for so long. In the next moment, God's envoy of pure virtue embraced Changshi tightly. My precious disciple, it's useless to miss me. This matter is difficult for even your master to handle. Witnessing God's envoy of pure virtue's actions, Changshi couldn't help but think that her master was quite straightforward. Subsequently, Changshi brought her master to the seal, but when she saw the demon lord's corpse, even God's envoy of pure virtue, who had the highest combat power, was astonished. Who could have done this? The the birth of Tushar originated from the fear and malice in the world. The immortals cannot completely kill him, not even the heavenly god clan can do it. Seeing her own master in such a pathetic state, Changshi said, "The one who killed Tushar is Chinchanan, the servant of Hanshi. Now he has surpassed Tushar and become the strongest heavenly demon. Currently, he is being taken care of by Hanshi. I'm sure the news will spread soon. As long as Chinchanan is not found by the heavenly demon army, they won't rashly start a war at this moment of their military strength. I have interacted with Chinchanan, and he is not an evil person. He even protected us. He doesn't belong to this time and space but is doing things beyond his responsibilities. If it's him, perhaps he can prevent the so-called war between immortals and demons." However, God's envoy of pure virtue rejected this naive idea, saying, "You can't even protect yourself, yet you're concerned about these major matters. What a fool you are. Anyway, this is an opportunity to redeem yourself. While the heavenly demon army hasn't found Chinchanan yet, you and Hanshi should bring him back, and I will take over. Your guilt will be lessened." Then, in a soft voice, she added, "Either he becomes one of us, or we seal him for eternity." On the other side, after a night of uninterrupted passion, Hanshi finally satisfiedly got up from the bed. "You mustn't wander around. Wait for me to finish my work and come back for more," she said. Subsequently, Hanshi used a teleportation array to arrive above the headquarters of the demon clan. Feeling the lightness in her body, Hanshi's face showed a rosy complexion. It seems that the best way to enhance one's strength is to engage with a man. I've decided. I'll make him my exclusive servant from now on. Then, Hanshi looked towards her own headquarters from a distant cliff, hesitated for a while, and decided to go back and take a look first. However, as she passed by the dueling arena, she suddenly became attracted by the cheers coming from within. Driven by curiosity, Hanshi indeed entered the arena. Unexpectedly, it was even more lively inside, and the disciples inside shouted in unison. Tonight, all heavenly demons above the demon monarch realm are participating in this competition. It is said that even the 4 heavenly kings are among them. Just then, the clan chief loudly announced, "I have 2 pieces of good news. First, we have always been suppressed by the immortals, but now that our demon lord has appeared, our era is about to come." Then, he threw out Feng Qian and said, "This immortal was caught by us during our patrol. He was abandoned by his companions and left for us to do as we please." Upon seeing Feng Qian's face, the demons shouted that they wanted to chop him up and make soup, not even sparing his bones. Immediately after, the clan chief revealed the second piece of news. "The winner of this competition will have the mating rights with my niece, Hanshi." Upon hearing this, the cheers in the arena became even more exaggerated. "I've had my eye on that little girl for a long time. I dream of having something with her. She belongs to me," someone said. In order to make the competition more intense, Hanshi's uncle shouted, "Even the top 5 will have a chance." As the person involved, Hanshi heard these words as soon as she entered and instantly turned to stone. Her own family, whom she had always been proud of, regarded her as a tool for pleasure. To stop this farce, Hanshi quickly approached Aruko and shouted loudly, "I disagree. This is an utterly ridiculous competition. Your revelry has nothing to do with me. How could you treat me like this, uncle?" Aruko, however, remained unfazed and replied naturally, "Hanshi, your deceased father's last wish was to entrust you to me. Naturally, I have the right to control you. Moreover, not only did you fail to complete the task of seizing the artifact, but you also delayed our grand plan for the demon clan. Without obtaining the artifact, you are a worthless failure as a heavenly demon. Fortunately, your looks are decent, so you won't be executed. And to help you, Uncle specifically designated you as the prize for the grand competition. This way, your crimes can be forgiven, and everyone's desires can be fulfilled. Isn't this a win-win situation? Now, everyone is impassioned and ready for bloody battle. This is the momentum that our heavenly demons need to maintain at this moment. We need to cultivate stronger warriors, and you are an indispensable asset. By giving birth to several offspring with special abilities for our clan, you will be serving the clan, won't you?" Faced with Aruko's moral coercion, Hanshi shouted loudly to the crowd, "Serve? Bullshit! Why don't you let your old lover be violated by them?" Upon hearing Hanshi's retort, Aruko's face darkened, but before he could respond, he was interrupted by the bloodthirsty heavenly king standing beside him. "Her opinion doesn't matter. We'll do what needs to be done," he said. The ruthless war heavenly king also expressed his agreement and ordered the heavenly demons below to start fighting. "How boring," said the other 2 heavenly kings on the side. "Stop this pointless argument. We just want to enjoy the frenzy brought by the battle." Faced with the oppression of the 4 heavenly kings, Hanshi's face was filled with resentment. Her low voice spread throughout the entire arena. "Don't even think about controlling my destiny. I will definitely stop you and show you." In the next moment, laughter erupted in the arena. "This trash actually wants to stop everything. It's hilarious." She's just a waste in the Demon King realm. What else can she do besides pleasing men? She must be so scared that she's talking nonsense to comfort herself. Her strength is nothing special, but she's good at bragging. If you could actually do it, would you be so embarrassed? Have you lost even your self-awareness? Are you starting to think like an animal? The mocking voices in the arena continued without end. Hanshi left the arena without looking back. After Hanshi's departure, Uruko raised her staff and loudly announced the start of the competition. As the competition began, Feng Qian was also mercilessly abused as part of the spectacle. Just as Feng Qian was about to have his head chopped off, a beam of blue light suddenly flashed in the sky. Before anyone could see clearly what it was, a terrifying wave instantly enveloped the heavenly demon in front of Feng Qian, and in an instant, the heavenly demon turned into a burst of blood mist, exploding in the arena. The heavenly demons turned their gazes towards the direction of the explosion, only to see a dark figure slowly emerging from the smoke. The person was none other than Han Shi, who controlled my clone once again. Although the side effects were significant after this time, requiring me to roll around with Chinchanan many times to recover, she can't swallow this anger right now. Then, Hanshi took a deep breath and shouted to the crowd, "Hanshi is my woman. Whoever is not afraid of death, come on." Faced with such provocation, the crowd's expressions darkened as they scrutinized this shameless person to find out who they were. Then, a few lackeys swung their heavy fists and attacked the figure in the arena. Who do these insignificant pests think they are? How dare they be so arrogant? Hanshi sighed lightly in the face of this provocation. Then, with a calm wave of her arm, a powerful pressure instantly crushed the attackers into minced meat. Suddenly, the arena fell silent, and the backs of the heavenly demons were covered in cold sweat. Did anyone see what she just did? Those were 3 heavenly demons at the Demon Monarch realm. They were obliterated in an instant. Then Hanshi pointed up at the stands. Yi Feng sensed the hostility from Hanshi. He responded disdainfully, "Where did this rat come from?" But Hanshi didn't waste time with words, interrupted with intense killing intent. "Come down here. I'm going to slaughter you." The heavenly demons laughed even more recklessly. Did this fool not know who she was provoking? Just because she defeated 3 demon monarchs, does she think she's invincible? Yi Feng is the strongest existence in our clan. Yi Feng, fueled by Hanshi's provocation, instantly appeared on the platform. This ignorant fool has no idea what's coming. You won't have a chance to beg for mercy later. Another heavenly demon, excited by the situation, shouted out, "Yi Feng is going to have some fun. Do you recognize that ignorant heavenly demon?" Uruko shook her head after hearing this. It's possible that he's a wanderer. Otherwise, he wouldn't be unaware of the gap between us. Then, a blue electric current condensed in Yi Feng's hand. "You've never seen someone like me before. I'll make you understand the difference in power." Before Yi Feng could finish his arrogant speech, a large hand had already reached his face. In the astonished expression of Uruko, the palm firmly grabbed his head and slammed it towards the ground with force. The entire demon continent trembled for a moment, and a powerful aura instantly swept across the entire land. The heavenly demons who were still spectating were filled with fear. This is our clan's strongest. How could he kill a heavenly demon king in one move? In the face of this incredible scene, fear was written all over Uruko's eyes. Who is he really? The 4 heavenly kings, who were considered the pinnacle of combat strength, were also shocked. How could that kid have such power? This doesn't look good. He actually made Yi Feng suffer a defeat. This has never happened in 1,000 years. Hanshi, who was controlling my body, seemed to sense their gaze and cast a fierce look at every heavenly demon. The next moment, a bone-chilling voice suddenly emanated from Hanshi's hand. "Damn bastard. I'm going to make you suffer." But Hanshi didn't give him the slightest chance to resist, relentlessly smashing his head against the ground repeatedly. "May I ask, Lord Heavenly King, how does it feel to be held by the head and beaten up?" Hanshi then showed a contemptuous expression. "How's that? Can I still control my strength properly? Is your little brain still functioning properly?" The other 3 heavenly kings also felt a tremendous provocation and erupted with a powerful aura as they attacked the arena. Sensing the killing intent coming from behind, a bad premonition rose in Hanshi's heart. Despite having a powerful body, Hanshi, who was only in the Demon King realm, couldn't unleash his full strength. Moreover, he was now facing the 4 great heavenly kings, known as undefeated for 1,000 years. However, Yi Feng didn't appreciate this outcome and shrugged off the arm of the heavenly king next to him. He then shouted at Hanshi, "If it weren't for you ambushing me before I finished speaking, do you really think a lowly creature like you could succeed?" Bloodslaughter Heavenly King interrupted Yi Feng's words with a displeased expression, saying, "Save your complaints for later. The intimidation and status of the 4 heavenly kings are not to be trifled with. This situation is no longer just about you." Hanshi, within his body, felt an immense pressure. Hopefully, things won't go completely wrong. The other 2 heavenly kings, holding absolute advantage, mocked, "Little fly, you've lost your last chance to escape." Once the 4 heavenly kings join forces, even the god's envoy of pure virtue would be wary, let alone a small heavenly demon like you. The small fry in the arena was also excited. The 4 heavenly kings actually teamed up. This is the first time in hundreds of years. Yi Feng heard their banter and sneered. At the same time, a mysterious killing formation condensed in the air. "Stop the pointless talk. Let's attack him together and kill him." In the next moment, the formation emitted a brilliant blue light, and countless sharp thorns rained down on the defenseless Han Shi. Faced with this desperate situation, Han Shi deeply regretted it. Although vending just now felt great, it also confirmed that my possession ability is not strong enough. If I could unleash the full power of this body and kill them effortlessly, it would be a piece of cake. But now, the side effects of possession have appeared, and the longer I possess, the greater the consumption of spatial laws. Although I have a strong resonance with spatial laws since birth and am proficient in soul communication spells, allowing me to directly invade and control others' bodies, this method is not easily controlled, and it's self-created. Using it lightly harms myself greatly, but in order to survive, I can only give it my all. Han Shi then began to constantly seek opportunities to escape under the siege of the others. However, this action only made the long-haired heavenly king more excited and accelerated the attack on Han Shi. At this moment, Han Shi became extremely miserable, and the sensation of side effects grew stronger. Moreover, he was unable to use powerful techniques, and his fighting experience was nowhere near that of the 4 heavenly kings. Resistance was absolutely impossible. The only option was to create an opportunity to escape from this place. The motionless furious war heavenly king suddenly burst into maniacal laughter as a violent lightning power gathered above his head. "It seems you've experienced thunder before. Now, taste mine." Sensing the terrifying power, Han Shi's heart tightened. This is the end. In an instant, a lightning force spanning dozens of meters struck Han Shi. The raging power was undoubtedly displayed in the arena. Seeing this, the furious war heavenly king sneered coldly. "None of those who have taken this move from me have survived." When the lightning dissipated, Han Shi was already on the verge of collapse. The coordination of the 4 heavenly kings is truly terrifying. Even strong individuals in the Domain Lord realm cannot resist, let alone me, who cannot unleash Shinchanan's full power. It seems I've played a little too much. The damage this body has endured is nearing its limit. If I continue, I might expose myself, and there's a chance Shinchanan's body will disappear as well. The small fry in the arena saw Han Shi in dire straits, and the mocking and cursing voices continued. "How dare you speak disrespectfully to the heavenly kings? This is your fate." Being tormented by the 4 heavenly kings is considered the greatest honor. The blood-slaughter heavenly king approached Han Shi from behind, preparing to deliver the final blow. "You ignorant wild seed, what use are you? I've been waiting for you to perish." Just when Han Shi thought she was about to meet her end, I suddenly grabbed the incoming hand, surprising the halted blood-slaughter heavenly king. What kind of power is this? Han Shi inside his body was also bewildered. "This is not my doing." The body moved on its own. Could it be that Shinchanan has returned? As I regained control of the body, I wore a mocking smile and forcefully tore off the blood-slaughter heavenly king's arm. "Let's play a game." Immediately, the pitiful voice of the blood-slaughter heavenly king echoed within the group. A strong sense of crisis spread through the hearts of all the heavenly kings. Wasn't he just unable to continue? How did he manage to tear off the blood-slaughter's hand? And after taking over the body, waves of violent demonic energy continuously gushed out from within me. Then, with great interest, I looked at the person in front of me who was screaming in agony. Feng Qiyun, who was cowering in the corner, began to tremble all over upon sensing this familiar aura. It must be him. There's no mistake. That familiar oppressive aura. I must escape from here as soon as possible, or else there's only a dead end. Cold sweat continued to flow down the face of the furious war heavenly king. Could it be that he was deliberately hiding his strength to have fun with us? The other heavenly king expressed a similar sentiment and said we should be cautious. However, Han Shi within my body saw this as a good opportunity to escape and urged me to leave this cursed place quickly. The elemental power within my body was no longer sufficient to sustain us, but it was as if I didn't hear her. I didn't move a step. Sensing my change, Han Shi harbored a terrible thought. Before she could dwell on it further, the 4 heavenly kings erupted with their peak power and attacked me, attempting to eliminate the future threat before I could strike. The small fry in the arena seemed oblivious to the situation, as they not only showed no intention of fleeing but even acted as cheerleaders. The heavenly kings are mighty. Kill him. However, I only revealed a gaze filled with killing intent, and then I gently waved my hands, grasping the power of lightning that swept across the entire arena. Then, one by one, those who were hailed as the pinnacle of combat power, the heavenly kings, perished under this immense force. They didn't even feel any pain before facing annihilation. Aruko's eyes were filled with endless despair as she saw the blood mist drifting around her. The small fry who were just filled with enthusiasm moments ago now emitted squealing pig-like sounds due to fear. Hanshi at this moment felt her body enveloped in a strange sensation and let out a peculiar cry. "You're depleting my elemental power. I can't take it anymore." But I had no intention of stopping and condensed a purple halo in my hand. Sensing this familiar posture, Hanshi suddenly shouted, "Wait, are you going to annihilate the Heavenly Demon Clan?" The next moment, a purple-red mushroom cloud suddenly emerged over the entire territory of the Heavenly Demon Clan. The camps of the Heavenly Demons were also swept away by this destructive aura. The Heavenly Demons who hadn't reacted yet turned into ashes in the endless blaze. Then, a blaze illuminated the entire night sky, causing Hanshi's body to become hot due to the exhaustion of her elemental energy, and she emitted mysterious sounds. In the depths of the forest, a group of heavenly demons were madly rushing towards the headquarters of the Heavenly Demon Clan. The information they obtained from the exploration this time was of great importance. Unexpectedly, the Demon Lord was killed by an unknown heavenly demon. Now, the group is leaderless. We must quickly report this matter to the Heavenly Kings and discuss whether to appoint that unknown heavenly demon as the new Demon Lord. The next moment, fear covered the previously panicked faces of the heavenly demons. The tribe, which originally had billions of demon kings, turned into boundless desolation. The leading heavenly demon shouted in anguish, "What happened? Weren't we celebrating? How did it turn out like this?" Meanwhile, at the center of the heavenly demon tribe, a figure that had been burned to charcoal appeared. This person was Aruko, the chief of the heavenly demon tribe. Her vitality was rapidly fading, and her eyes were filled with a complex expression of fear and shock. How can there be such powerful heavenly demons in this world? They razed everything to the ground with a flick of their finger. Over 80% of our powerful demons have been annihilated. Is this the end for our heavenly demon tribe? Meanwhile, in the nearby dense forest, a figure in golden armor was swiftly moving through it, luckily escaping ahead of time. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would be buried in it too. We must quickly convey what has happened here to the Celestial Clan. As night falls, strange sounds emanate from a dark valley. Hanshi, at this moment, is covered in sweat and accompanied by rapid breathing. On Hanshi's bed, there are 2 jade feet and 2 dark feet intertwined. The only one who remains conscious, Hanshi, is speeding down the highway. Hanshi's mouth continues to moan, her body depleted. She must keep moving to restore her physical strength. As time passes, Hanshi's expression becomes increasingly blurred, and I faint once again. I am being used as a pitiful tool. However, Hanshi shows no mercy towards me and increases the intensity. She doesn't feel any pity for me because of my fainting. As the movement on the bed becomes more intense, Hanshi's tail becomes more agile. But Hanshi is not satisfied with this and leans down to kiss me deeply. 3 or 4 hours later, Hanshi has already regained her full strength and shows signs of a breakthrough. Chin-chanan, I think doing it again for you is no big deal, right? Since you're not saying anything, I'll take it as your consent. Who allowed you to be so audacious towards me just now? Outside the house, the vultures are affected by the extremely wild sound and start the great project of building birds.